Hello and welcome to this week's auction update. In our last official reporting week for the year, there probably will be some auctions next week, but this is our last full week, and we can see from the results we'll show you in just a moment, we're well ahead of this time last year. Back in just a moment.
Hi everyone, my name's Nick and I'm the Country Manager here at Beepo. We offer outsourcing services for real estate agencies that are looking to become significantly more productive and efficient. Let me give you a bit of a rundown about how our real estate team actually works. At Beepo, we have many positions to assist our clients in the real estate industry. These include sales assistants, trust accountant, marketing staff. We also have a couple of our most popular products, the property management assistants and Rock End property assistants.
Well, as I said at the top of the show, well ahead of last year, as you're going to see. Let's bring up firstly the preliminary results. This week there were 2,750 homes taken to auction across the combined capital cities, with volumes down by 5.6% on last week's 2,912 auctions. Preliminary results show a clearance rate of 69.2%. Melbourne saw 1,394 homes taken to auction this week, returning a preliminary clearance rate of 73.2%. There were 846 homes taken to auction across Sydney in the last week, down on the week prior, and preliminary results show a clearance rate of 73.6%, which was just slightly lower than last week's final result. Okay, let's take you to the Sydney sub-regions now. Firstly, bring up those results. Notable here, City and Inner South with a clearance rate of 93.2%. Also notable, mentioning Inner West on 59 auctions with a clearance rate of 88.2%. Let's have a look at our top sale out of Sydney. The nation's top sale of the week at $5,080,000 was achieved on Saturday by Kate Lumbey and Will Hampson. 7 Wyoming Road at Dural or Duralong is an exceptional acreage estate in a blue ribbon location in Dural, offering lifestyle and luxury. Set on 5 picturesque acres of clear land with manicured established gardens, in-ground saltwater pool and championship-sized tennis court. This expansive single-level home flows beautifully with high ceilings and large windows capturing natural light and loads of formal and informal living areas. Kate and Will promoted this property as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and we're sure the new owners are going to agree. Okay, moving now to the results out of Melbourne. Let's bring up the sub-regions for you. I want to mention a few here, particularly Northeast, coming in almost at the top clearance rate, certainly in terms of numbers, at 183 auctions with a clearance rate of 80.8%. Mornington Peninsula, much fewer numbers, of course, but a good result, 81.5%. Also notable Inner East, Inner South, Northwest and Southeast, all in the 70% range. Okay, let's have a look at our top sale out of Melbourne now. Situated at the end of an elite cul-de-sac near Kooyong Village and Station, Kooyong Tennis Club, Sir Zelman Cohen Park, a range of schools and freeway access, proved extremely popular with buyers on Saturday. 3A St Martin's Close at Kooyong, Melbourne, was successfully marketed by Ray, Hugh and Anthony from Marshall White, selling under the hammer for $2,990,000. This beautiful home is sophisticated luxury at its finest, with every imaginable accessory for security and privacy. Set on 509 square metres of land that's been beautifully landscaped, this Kooyong property was the top Victorian sale of the week. Just before we take you to the other top sales in some of the cap cities around Australia, let's catch up with Cate Bakos, and here's her tip for this week. Hello and welcome to another one in our summer series presented by CoreLogic. We're taking you behind the scenes of looking at how the auction strategy works, how it works. Maybe you're preparing to go to an auction. You could even be preparing to sell at auction, and hopefully this series will help you. Cate Bakos is a buyer's agent out of Melbourne, and she's our special guest on this series. You know, you really need to be prepared when you're going to go to auction, because I can tell you that the agent is prepared, and the agent certainly has made sure that they've got their seller prepared as well. So what do you need to do as a bidder to be prepared? Cate Bakos is a buyer's agent, as I said, in Melbourne, and she helps many people do this. She's going to give us the key things that you must do. Must do. G'day, Kate. How you doing?
I'm great, Kevin. I love this series.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's tremendous to be able to tap into your knowledge, because I know you're helping a lot of people do this on a regular basis and having to bid for them. So you've got a lot of confidence in this area, and we trust your advice. So what are the things that we should be doing? You know, I know we should be looking at contracts and doing that sort of stuff. So walk us through your top 5 or 6.
Well, first and foremost, when you buy at auction, there's no cooling off. You can't change your mind. So once the hammer falls, the property is yours. So you need to be very, very careful that you are buying exactly what you think you're buying. And sometimes it's the invisible things that can catch buyers out. So we always get a contract review performed by a legal rep, whether they're a conveyancer or a solicitor, it's the client's choice. But to have that legal set of eyes run over the contract and provide a written statement of exactly what's in the particulars and what sorts of special conditions or other conditions might apply gives the buyer an enormous amount of knowledge. And things like easements, covenants, caveats, they can make or break a happy purchasing experience, particularly if you didn't know that they were in the contract. So the first thing we always suggest is getting a legal review. And then when you're going along to auction, you obviously need to be confident that you've got the right dollars for the property. Nobody wants to overpay, and nobody wants to miss out for a price that they could have paid because they didn't have enough knowledge about price. And I know we talked a couple of weeks ago about comparable sales analysis, and that's where that particular part of the due diligence is really important. And then the next thing that they have to make sure they're doing is preparing for what happens if they win. So the agent will be calling for a certain number of days settlement. They'll be calling probably for a 10% deposit on the fall of the hammer. If there's any variations to that, the buyer has to be able to negotiate that long before auction day. And most of the time when we do have variations that we're requesting, the agent isn't in a position to just make that judgment call and accept the conditions. They need to run it past the vendor and the vendor solicitor. And we all know that most solicitors close at 5 o'clock on a Friday. So you really need to get this stuff done out of the way long before the auction. And then we talk about deposit. And I get a lot of young buyers, whether they're, millennials, Gen Ys, they don't necessarily walk around with a checkbook in their bag. A lot of them haven't used checks before. We're in a very electronic world now, and EFT is quite acceptable for them. But not every single auction will accept EFT, and not every single buyer can transfer the full 10%. So there's lots of things that you have to plan for behind the scenes, and that could even include lifting your transfer limits on your bank account so that you are in a position to purchase that property and not be in breach of contract.
We discussed last week in the show about ways to figure out how many buyers or potential bidders there are. Another great way, you've always got to get a building and pest inspection done, but it's always good to ask the agent, has anyone else had one done as well?
Yeah, for a couple of reasons. It obviously does give you a really good idea of who's serious about the property, because let's face it, no one spends $600 or $700 unless they are serious about this. And also, if a building inspection has been done recently by an independent building inspector, you might be able to pick up a report for half price. You'll have it at your fingertips very quickly. It could be a convenient way of going about things. So it's a critical question to ask, and it gives you a lot of good information, as does, are there any buyer's agents on the property?
Oh,
You know
really?
you've got a buyer's agent.
Okay.
You've got someone who's paying for a buyer's agent, so you've got another committed buyer.
That's a good one. I've never really thought of that, Kate, but that's such a good point. And of course, buyer's agents are becoming more and more the norm now, so we're going to see a lot more of them coming into the sphere. We've another important consideration too in being prepared is to work out the pricing structures or where you're prepared to go with your bidding to have that upper limit. How often do you see people set a limit and then go over it, Kate?
You'd be so surprised how many people don't have a firm plan.
Oh, really? Is that right?
My best guess, Yeah, my best guess is that 10 to 20% of people have a firm plan. They have a very strict, quirky walk-away figure that absolutely means that they're out of the game. But then maybe 70% of buyers have a vague limit. And so, for example, let's say we're talking about a $1.2 million house and the final price that it sells for is, let's say, 1, 2, 4, 5. So if you've got a few buyers that are satisfied that it's a circa 1.2 property, what happens when it's down to the last 2 bidders or the last 3 bidders? There's 100 people in the street all staring at you. The auctioneer is holding a gavel and he's yelling at you, and you haven't strategized where to stop, and you're asking your partner on the run. The auctioneer is yelling at you saying, we're out of time, first, second, third, final call, are you in, are you out? It is the most stressful thing a buyer can put themselves through. And I would arguably say about 70% of people put themselves in that position.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Hey, one last question before we go. Another thing that you should be prepared for, if you're going to put this property into your portfolio, is to get an accurate rental appraisal. Most agents will have one. Do you suggest that you get another one on top of that, Kate?
I always recommend that you've got to be satisfied that it's independent. And it doesn't mean that a property manager in the same office as the selling agent won't give you a strong and accurate rental appraisal. But if your ability to purchase this and bankroll it in terms of the cash flow implication is contingent on the rent, it's very, very easy to get a second opinion. And I would be very disappointed if someone didn't go to those lengths to ask one more person for an appraisal when it's such an easy task. And if you've got a discrepancy, you can then get a third opinion. But you absolutely need to make sure that you've got an accurate appraisal. And I say to people all the time, don't ask the sales agent. As fantastic as they are and as much as they know about their campaign, very few of them actually understand market rentals, and they're not the right person to ask. They've got a vested interest in helping the vendor, and they're not there to give you an accurate rental appraisal.
Very good point. Cate Bakos joins us in the special summer series of Auction Update for CoreLogic as we look at taking you behind the scenes. Next week with Kate, we're going to talk about negotiating before the auction. Many people leave the negotiation up to on the auction day, and as you've already heard, that's a very stressful thing to do. So what can you negotiate prior to auction? That's what Kate's going to tell us next time when she comes back. Kate, we look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you.
Sounds great. See you soon.
Okay, let's have a look at our top sale now. This one out of Brisbane. Architecturally redesigned to create spacious and sophisticated family living, this 1920s Queenslander rests in the heart of the exclusive Churchy precinct in East Brisbane. Sold under the hammer on Saturday for $1.8 million by James Curtin and Summer Mitchell from Place, it's just 3 kilometres from the CBD. This 2-level, 5-bedroom home is packed with traditional elegance. Its pristine street front and fully renovated interior showcase superior finishes and craftsmanship. The main living and entertaining spaces have been oriented to take full advantage of the block's perfect near northern aspect, cooling breezes and stunning city skyline views. Now to the ACT and our top sale in the nation's capital. North facing and full of light, this beautifully presented home is Canberra's top auction sale from Saturday, selling for $1,490,000. 9 La Hunt Street in Deakin is a 3-bedroom home that flows beautifully between the indoor and outdoor areas, with 2 sets of double glass doors leading to the patio. With this single-level Peter Byford designed executive home, entertaining is a breeze, with a garden outlook from the living area and a peaceful private covered patio for entertaining as well. With its beautifully maintained minimum care garden, this home makes living really easy. Sold by Shane Killalea from Heyman Partners. And finally in the show, let's take you to South Australia and our top sale there. The stunning home was designed to make the most of the outstanding city views and the serene environment. 14B Caithness Avenue in Beaumont was sold at auction last Wednesday for $2,100,500 by Brett Pilgrim and Leon Wan from Raywider Adelaide. This thoughtfully designed and skillfully constructed home in the highly sought-after area of Beaumont delivers incredible family dimensions and sensational entertaining throughout. The underfloor heating system provides year-round comfort, and outdoors, you've got to make the most of the solar-heated pool that comes with its own bathroom. Top sale in South Australia this week was 14B Catness Avenue, Beaumont, sold for $2,100,000 and $500. By Brett and Leon from Ray White, Adelaide. Okay, just before I leave you, our preliminary results again for this week. Let's bring them back up on the screen. Sydney, 73.6%. Melbourne, 73.2%. Brisbane, 45.8%. Adelaide, 60.6%. Perth, 34.4%. And Canberra at 57.6%. Well, this is our last auction update results report for you for 2019. We're going to be back again in early 2020. It's hard to say that, 2020, as we continue our CoreLogic auction results every Monday and every Friday. Look forward to seeing you then.